Hello, welcome to ITU Telecom World 2011 being held here in Geneva in Switzerland. I'm talking with Ruhakana Rugunda, who is the Minister of ICT of Uganda. Minister, welcome. To begin at the beginning, can you give us some idea of the current state of the ICT sector in Uganda?
I would say that we are generally doing reasonably well, especially knowing what the situation was 10, 15 years ago, when the telephone penetration was very, very low. As I speak now, about 85% of the country is covered by GSM, about 10% penetration by internet, and teledensity is about 50%. So really there has been remarkable progress. We are not, of course, satisfied with this. Would like to see much more improvements, and to that end we are putting all our efforts in government and even more so in the private sector.
And what are the challenges the country faces in terms of ICT?
I think one of the main issues is accessibility. Uganda is a rural-dominated population. 80% of the people live in the rural areas and about 10–20% in urban areas. Therefore, the population in rural areas being able to access high quality, high speed, affordable services is a challenge. And to that, again, we are working with the private sector, we in the government, to ensure that we enable the population, especially in rural areas and the poor areas of the urban centers, to access communication.
We're here at a rather different ITU Telecom World this time. There's much more emphasis on networking. A lot of heads of state and ministers have been here and many fewer manufacturers. What were your expectations of the show? Did it meet them? And do you have a key message that you have been giving out to everyone who will listen about what's going on in Uganda and what's needed?
Well, I would say the conference is a good conference. It has enabled my delegation and I to intensely interact with other delegations, other countries, and share experiences of how far we are going in telecommunication sector and in the communication sector in general. And also, we have been able to share knowledge about the best practices. Therefore, the Uganda delegation will go back to Kampala significantly richer than when we came to the Geneva ITU conference.
And what about the key message?
Really, we came determined to tell people the successes and the challenges we are meeting back home. To this end, we have done so. And indeed, we have benefited from people telling us why we have challenges, how they have been able to sort out their own challenges. That's why I think we are wiser at the end of the conference. When we go back, we will put to use some of the ideas that could be applicable to our own situation. We cannot say Uganda is doing the best in the telecom sector or in the communications in general. We are doing very well, but we also know that others, some are doing even much better. We have listened to them. We have been able to discover how they have been able to do so. We have seen areas of cooperation. We have seen policy areas. We have seen areas of technology, and we think through exchange of views, through regional and international collaboration, and also through the use of the conduit of International Telecommunications Union, Uganda, our region, and the world is going to be better off in improving communication, making it more accessible, making it more affordable.
How do you think ICT can be harnessed to provide not just economic development, but also social development for Uganda?
Well, the social and economic transformation of societies depend a lot, especially now, on availability of information, availability of knowledge. Therefore, the sector of ICT has enabled us in Uganda, enabled us in the world to be able to disseminate information to the population through e-government, e-services, e-commerce, e-learning, e-medicine, and the like. Therefore, the fact that the population are being increasingly empowered through new and varied information, this will enable the population to be able to decide on their future in social, educational, and academic and economic issues. Therefore, it is the empowering of the population that I consider cardinal. And the ICT mechanisms have been an unprecedented conduit for this information. That's why governments and the private sector and international organizations like ITU must not spare any effort in ensuring quality, affordable accessibility of information to the whole world. And that's where the challenge of dealing with last mile becomes critical, because it's easy to have good information in urban areas where it is easy to make money by private telephone companies. But the person living in the rural areas, a little more difficult to reach, may not get this benefit. However, through a combined effort by government, by telecommunication companies, and by international organizations, I'm sure we will reach this person and empower him or her as well to be able to determine, take decisions on his or her future, socially, economically, knowing that he is making a decision, she's making a decision on the basis of knowledge. Actually, information has enabled the people to have the destiny in their own hands, instead of waiting for great brains, great governments to decide their own future. Now the population have been empowered to determine their own destiny.
And finally, Minister, what actions and policies will you undertake to get more Ugandans connected between now and 2012?
The target we have in government is to work more closely with private companies. First and foremost, we consolidate the achievements we have now scored, so that there is no deterioration. Secondly, we take advantage of a liberalized policy where there is competition among the private telecom companies. We have 7 of them in Uganda. And this competition leads the consumer, the ordinary person, to be the beneficiary, especially in terms of both quality and also in terms of affordability. So increased competition, ensure the policy of liberalization works. Government will also come in to provide some of the major services. For example, we have built a national backbone infrastructure, and it is the intention of government to roll it out to all district centers so that it becomes much easier for the population to get access to information and for the telecom companies to be able to tap on this national backbone. Therefore, we see a bright future. We see universal access being achievable, and we see information becoming the empowerment of the people of Uganda to decide on their own future, their own destiny, and transform the country from the social and economic point of view.
Ruhakana Rugunda, thank you very much indeed.